The true fruit of Imu has been revealed, and it will surprise you because there's a two-character difference in the manga that most people overlooked, and it's driving fans on the internet crazy. That difference completely changes everything we thought we knew about devil fruits in One Piece. Don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. When Imu's introduction box appears in chapter 1179 with the word power, what's written there is not in kanji. Imu's fruit stands out for its unique name, breaking the repeated two-syllable pattern used by all other devil fruits, and it is homonymous with the very term devil fruit. Oda wrote it in katakana, and that's not a typographical detail. It's a statement about its nature. The kanji system in Japanese represents complete concepts, meanings embodied in a single character. It's the system that gave rise to all the Akuma no Mi we know: Gomu Gomu, Hito Hito, Gura Gura. Each name carries an idea compressed into sound and symbol. Katakana, on the other hand, is phonetic. It's used for foreign words, for sounds that come from outside the native Japanese system. When Oda wrote Imu's power in katakana, he signaled that what Imu possesses does not come from the same system that produced conventional fruits. It comes from somewhere else, from another time, maybe from an entirely different world. It's likely that it isn't just a devil fruit, but the devil fruit, the apple of Eden, which turned its user into a demon and is capable of creating other demons that consume a portion of its essence. This isn't a weak theory, it's the most direct reading of what Oda put on the page. Imu didn't eat an Akuma no Mi. She is the Akuma no Mi, the source, the original, the entity that, by being consumed or by consuming the primordial fruit generated, by contagion, all the possible powers we see branching throughout the series. To understand the weight of this, you have to go where the argument points, to Genesis. Oda has planted biblical references in the series since the earliest arcs: the Adam tree, the Eve tree, Noah's Ark, not as aesthetic decoration but as cosmological structure. Devil fruits are considered by some to be incarnations of the sea devil, and other legends say the fruits were enchanted by sea demons. Shanks said this: the most measured man in the series, the only one who speaks with the five elders without kneeling, said the fruits are incarnations of the sea devil, not creations, not products of science or magic. Incarnations, physical fragments of an entity that existed before them. In the biblical narrative, the serpent that tricked Eve into eating the forbidden fruit didn't offer just any fruit. It offered the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, the fruit that opened eyes, brought awareness, expelled humanity from Eden, and began all of human history. The devil didn't create that fruit, it used it. Or perhaps it was the fruit, the physical manifestation of an ancient will that wanted humanity to become something different. The argument raises a devastating question. What if the sea devil tempted Imu in the same way? What if it used the voice of all things to seduce the queen of the Nerona kingdom into consuming the primordial fruit, corrupting her, transforming her, and using her body as a gateway to manifest in the physical world? That would explain why Imu bleeds when leaving Mary Joyce, and why the theory about the Eve tree is so powerful. The Eve tree exists beneath the red line, visible from Fishman Island, its light passing through the rock like something alive. The crown of that tree could stretch across the entire red line and end exactly in the flower garden of Pangaea Castle, the very garden where Imu spent time in total isolation, where she kept portraits of Vivi and Joy Boy, where the roots and flowers had a visual quality unlike anything else in the manga. Imu didn't stay in that garden for aesthetics. She stayed because she needs the tree, because the fruit she consumed came from it, and moving away from the source weakens the connection. Vegapunk's theory about the origin of devil fruits has much in common with Willie Gallen's statement that everything man desires eventually becomes reality. Vegapunk theorized that fruits are manifestations of desire, possibilities of human evolution generated by hope and will. But Vegapunk admitted his theory was speculation, and many fundamental mysteries, like why the same power can't exist in two places at once, remain unexplained. His theory describes fruits as products of humanity. Imu suggests that humanity might be a product of the fruits, that the original fruit wasn't born from human desire, it was offered to create desire, to corrupt, to divide, to establish a world where power fragments into endless variations of an original sin. This principle of fragmentation connects Imu to the Holy Knights and the Five Elders in a way that goes beyond political hierarchy. The Gorosei's powers came directly from Imu through a pact. They are not devil fruits. They are not independent fruits that reincarnated, grew on a tree, and were consumed by chance. They are delegated fragments of power portions of a central essence distributed to servants in exchange for something, in exchange for souls. The argument lays it out clearly. Imu and the 20 kings may have invoked the sea devil asking the demon king to bring down the great kingdom in exchange for their immortal souls. That's why the ancient kingdom fell. That's how the 20 founders defeated Joy Boy. Not through superior strength, but through a bargain with something that existed before recorded history. And that bargain has a visible cost. Imu bleeds when leaving the castle. The Gorosei, despite their monstrous powers, lack real autonomy. They exist to serve, like beings who surrendered their will when they signed the contract. The Holy Knights have mechanical hearts, because the organic heart, heart, the seed of will and of the fruits, demon, was literally removed and replaced with something that doesn't beat on its own. They are like walking Horcruxes, pieces of Imu's essence, distributed into bodies that no longer have enough will to resist her presence. This completely reframes the scene where Loki kills Herald, the holy knight marked by the curse, and Imu takes damage from afar. It wasn't just a generic magical side effect, it was the destruction of a fragment of Imu's own essence. A piece of the original fruit circulated within Herald through the Covenant, and when that piece was destroyed, Imu felt the loss as a physical wound. Imu's immortality is not absolute, it is distributed, and every death of a Covenant bearer erases a fragment of her. This leads to one of the most fascinating questions raised about Toki, the woman from the Void Century, who could only travel to the future and whose power was never named as a devil fruit in any panel. Oda has not confirmed whether Vegapunk was truly the professor he referred to when he said someone would explain the true nature of devil fruits. If Vegapunk isn't the final authority, if his explanation was only partial, then the full truth is still hidden. The existence of Toki with inherent power, Imu with inherent power, and the Gorosei with delegated powers without conventional fruits points to an earlier category, powers that existed before fruits, powers that fruits try to imitate in crystallized form. Nika is the perfect mirror of this logic on the opposite end. Joy Boy, like Imu, likely had inherent power, the power of the sun god, as a natural state of being, not as a consumed fruit. When Joy Boy died, his essence didn't fragment into servants. It condensed into a single fruit, preserved intact, waiting for a new vessel. The sap of the Eve tree may have been the medium infusing the final fruit with the essence of the fallen sun god, creating the Gomu Gomu no Mi that went unfound for decades, hunted by the world government for centuries without fully understanding why. They knew it was Joy Boy's fruit. They didn't know that rubber was the blood of the tree that feeds Imu. Other legends say devil fruits were enchanted by sea demons, and the sea devil may have influence over Imu. Influence is too weak a word for what's being proposed. The sea devil doesn't influence Imu. Imu is the gateway through which it exists in the physical world. The biblical fruit didn't make Eve lesser. It opened her eyes to something unseen. Imu ate the equivalent fruit, and the eyes that opened now see the world as territory to dominate, as a garden to keep closed so no one else can taste what she tasted. The world government isn't just an 800-year-old political system. It's an Eden maintained by someone who ate the forbidden fruit and decided no one else deserves to know what lies beyond. Luffy will destroy that garden, not because he's stronger, but because the Eve tree that sustains Imu and the essence of Joy Boy within the Nika fruit share the same origin, seen from opposite sides. Destroying the tree that feeds the demon will require Poseidon, will require sinking the Red Line, will require flooding and rebuilding the entire world. Joy Boy apologized to Poseidon 800 years ago, not for failing to bring the fishmen to the surface, but for the promise that one day the world would need to be destroyed to be saved, and that destruction would pass through the place where the ancient mermaid lives, where the root of Imu's power anchors at the bottom of the ocean. One Piece will end with a celebration, Oda has said that, and the biblical Leviathan, the demonic sea serpent destroyed by God at the end of time, has its body given as food for the feast that follows. The Red Line may be that serpent. The body Imu uses as a throne may be the skeleton of the demon she invoked 800 years ago, and the final celebration of the series may literally be the Feast of Leviathan, the entire world celebrating over the remains of an entity that existed before history and was finally destroyed for the first time since Eden by a boy who just wanted to be free. Appreciate you watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and check out this video I picked just for you.